What would you say, Imam, to people who still see people like Nelson Mandela as heroes and see him as a source of inspiration? Do you feel that he was an integral part of the compromise, or was he hoodwinked to a certain degree?
No, he wasn't hoodwinked. In his case, in 1964, when he appeared in court, he made a statement which was later quoted in the Financial Mail and other business magazines, that he has never ever been opposed to capitalism, and that was the cue. So they already started trying to get him on board, so they softened him up, and that was the reason for removing him from other comrades on the island who were in the Rivonia trial. Accidentally I bumped into the second in command of MK, and
that's Mkhonto Wesizwe.
Mkhonto Wesizwe. And he called me and he mistook me for somebody else, for an MK member, which I've never been. And he said to me, Ismail, which is not my name, if they think they can strike a deal with Nelson Mandela and leave us out, they are making a big mistake. So already there was a split, which was observable, that they knew that Nelson Mandela had been taken off the island in order to set in process the negotiations.
Okay.
So that came as no surprise.
Well, looking at the current administration under Zuma, would you say that is a continuation of the same line of thinking?
No, there's a big difference between Zuma. Zuma was on Robben Island for 10 years. Nelson Mandela was there for 18 years. And we'd just like to correct an historical error which says that he was on Robben Island for 27 years. That's not true. The oldest serving political prisoner on Robben Island was in fact Jeff Masimula, who spent 27 years there, and he was in fact assassinated in what was called a motor car accident shortly after he was released. So he definitely was the longest serving prisoner on Robben Island.
And he was a member of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania,
yes? That is correct, a very staunch member who had received life imprisonment way back in 1963.
Right.
So Nelson Mandela obviously was the key to bringing about the changes. And a lot of the deals that took place, both in Lusaka and London, were directly related to him and involved him. When I was in Polsma prison, way back in the 80s, that would have been around about 86, I was arrested and held in detention. We saw Nelson Mandela leaving the prison complex dressed in a suit, and of course later on we discovered that these meetings were with Kobie Coetsee, one of the cabinet ministers. So obviously later on they confirmed that, and even meetings with the head of intelligence, Dr. Neil Barnard, and others. So it was a long process which started way back in 1982, and of course you had the Dakar conference and other feelers that were sent out. But it was very well orchestrated.
Yes.
The people who needed the settlement badly were in fact the multinational companies, the financiers, the banks, the investors.